Welcome back, listeners. It's another episode of Rural Opportunities Podcast, and it's another City of Camrose counselor interview. Oh, they're so good. I hope you've listened to all the previous ones, and we have a great one up today. It is my pleasure to welcome Julie Girard to the Rural Opportunities Podcast, who's running for City of Camrose for a counselor position. So welcome, Julie.
Thank you for having me. It's just a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, super fun. So tomorrow is the big day. We finally hit October. It becomes real, right? The election's in 18 days. How are you feeling?
I am feeling a little nervous. There are a lot of candidates, and there's a lot of really great candidates. So
yeah,
taking nothing for granted, just out there working hard, trying to meet as many people and knock on some doors and talk to people. It's been difficult. COVID has made that difficult in the fourth wave, and being cognizant of where we're going and how we're doing things. Like I know one of my original plans was my grandkids were supposed to come and help me hand out flyers, and they were quite excited to come. And then, you know, like they don't live here. And I was just like, that can't happen.
Right. So it's been a shift, hey? And any plans? I know.
And lots of the events where you would have opportunities to come and meet with us have been canceled. So it's just about thinking about it differently and staying positive and talking to everybody, which
perfect.
It's kind of my thing.
You like it?
I do like talking. People are amazing, you know?
Yes.
I love people. People are awesome. I believe that. And I believe that people are inherently good and interesting. And, you know, sometimes they'll have a bad day, and that's okay, because sometimes I have a bad day, and it's just fun to be a part of a community and to be able to communicate and talk to one another.
Amazing. Well, you sound in great spirits. You're in the home stretch now, or I guess midway, right? So good luck with the rest of it. So if you're ready, I'm just going to jump into our standard question for our listeners. We asked all the candidates the same question. So if you're ready, we'll get going with those.
For sure. Sounds great.
Okay. So question number one, name, age. Some have chosen to answer this, others have not. It's totally up to you. And then just a little bit about yourself, Julie.
Oh, goodness. So my name is Julie Girard, and funny thing about my name is that I'm not French. My husband's French. My name was Julie Ray Barks.
Okay.
Kids in school had lots of fun with that.
I bet.
I was born in 1964, and I'm going to make people do the math.
Perfect. Love it. I love it.
So I think that's the last year of the baby boomers.
Yeah.
I came to Camrose in 2011 to manage the Starbucks here. And we had a great success, and we grew the business, you know, in all sorts of ways. And a lot of people will know that we loved being involved in the community, the fly-in breakfasts, and you know, I just can't even think off the top of my head all the different things we were involved in, but loved that. And so that position gave me an opportunity to be really involved in the community. And
I love it.
Then I was the president of the chamber here for 2 years.
That's right.
Yeah. So again, it's just an opportunity to know all the business people and to people at the CRE, and got opportunity to work with the CRE on big events and small business dinners. That was a lot of fun. I've served on the Physician Attraction Retention Committee while I was with the chamber.
Okay.
And so the challenges of getting doctors here, I know that it's a big deal, and now some of them are leaving. So that's also a big deal, and makes my heart sad, because those people involved in that work really hard.
Right.
And so I think we just have to try to take a step back and reassess and get back to work. Yeah. I also served on the Municipal Planning and Development Committee.
Okay.
Which was a really interesting position.
Yeah.
I did read all of our bylaws at one point. Somebody gave me a binder full, and I thought, I have to read this. And I read them all. And then someone said afterwards, you read them all.
Yeah. They were surprised, right? Yes.
And then right now I'm on the board of the library. So those are my sort of community things I've done. I'm originally from Saskatchewan, so northeastern Saskatchewan. I left Saskatchewan when I was 20 something.
Okay.
24, 25 years old.
Right.
We moved originally into Alberta up north, up by Manning, so in the Peace region. And I lived there for 7 or 8 years. We moved to Grand Prairie.
Oh, wow.
Years, and then we lived in Grand Cache for a while our kids were in school.
Yeah.
And I worked for Smoky River Coal. And then I was going to school. I did a university degree.
Yeah.
And then we moved back to Grand Prairie and then from there to here. So we've kind of hopped around all over the province. I
love that. Different perspective, hey?
Yeah, you get to be in different kinds of communities.
Right.
I think one of the appeals of Camrose for me was that it was like going home.
Okay.
You know, when this is the farms and the combines and the smells of harvest. And for me, that was home. And that's because I grew up on a farm. And my dad had one of every kind of animal.
Right.
He was a collector.
Yes.
Of creatures.
Yes.
I had a pet turkey once.
Oh, I love that.
He used to come to the end of the driveway with us. And I remember one time the bus stopped and the doors opened and the turkey tried to get on the bus. And the bus driver looked at me and said, "If he comes again tomorrow to get on and bring in my axe."
No turkey, stay back.
No turkeys. So, but this for me was home. So it just had all that feeling of home. So it was a homecoming for me, that feeling, that country feeling, that, the older guys that came for coffee in the morning.
Right. The coffee network.
Yes, the coffee network, which was the greatest sadness of COVID.
I know.
Nobody came anymore.
Yeah.
But it'll come back one day. We'll have our coffee crew again and life will be complete.
Yes, that's right.
My grandfather was the guy that if you were brave enough to go with him downtown for coffee, it was 2 blocks from his house to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
That was a good, 2-3 hours.
Just to get to the coffee shop because he had to check on everybody. Hey?
Yeah, chat all the way.
Yep.
And then when he needed a walker, he had to make sure he got the walker with the seat on it. So when he stopped to chat to people, he could turn around and sit down on
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, he was that guy.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I love it. Saskatchewan, all over northern Alberta, and lots of different perspectives, shall we say.
Yeah, lots of different perspectives. Different types of economies. Like up north, there was oil field, even in the further north, and there were a lot of people that were farming / had companies out in the oil field.
Okay.
And then there was a lot of lumber and stuff up there as well. And then Grand Cache was a coal mine. Yeah. And when we were living there, it was mostly that coal mining industry. And of course, Grand Prairie is the Wild West.
Right.
And we had 5 kids and so when we were in Grand Prairie, it's different when you have kids or not have kids. Because when you have a lot of kids, you're very busy with hockey boards and things and all schools and football. And I remember my son Corey. He played football and hockey, and him being in the back of my van, changing out of one set of games
to another,
to make it to the next thing on time. But so Grand Prairie was really where we raised our kids, and I think sometimes those communities get a little bit of a hard judgment, But our kids had great schools and it's a fun place to be. Yeah. But you just can't go that fast all the time.
All the time. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So question number 2, in what capacities have you been involved in the City of Camrose activities in the past? And I think you've highlighted some of these, but let's go through them and anything you haven't mentioned.
Well, I think it's just that when opportunities came along, for me to be involved was just an opportunity to be involved. So to be on the chamber and to be a part of that and to learn about building policy and the kinds of things that chambers do for the business communities.
Yeah.
And representing them, just an honor to represent, because you get to go to the Alberta chambers and the Canadian chambers. Yeah. To be on the physician attraction and retention committee, because when I was on the committee, we actually came to a point where we had enough doctors for about 5 minutes, Yeah,
I know, right?
And then to be on the library board has also been just an amazing learning experience. So learning lots about when you are on these boards to be prepared.
Yes.
And I remember someone saying to me, "Have you read the Libraries Act?" I was thinking in my mind, "No, I didn't." And then making sure you're doing your homework, because you do a better job when you do your homework, like with it, it's like with anything. So making sure that you are prepared when you go into those meetings. And so when I lived in Grand Prairie, I did a degree in commerce. So the numbers for me are fun, but the library it's a really interesting one, because libraries have become so much more for communities than just a library.
Yes.
And so that's interesting in how the city has addressed that. And I think going forward, how we will grow that and continue to address that.
Yeah.
Because they really have become centers where people meet, and where people that don't have anywhere else to go can be and belong.
You're right.
And feel welcomed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important place to have in every community. And I think that our library does a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And the roof is not good, but
talk to me. I replaced ours 3 years ago. I know about bad roofs. It's no fun.
Yeah, it's been there are things, but I mean, that is with any kind of infrastructure. And especially if you've had little growth spurts here and there, when things start to fall apart, they do tend to go in, like, all of these things need to be replaced. And it's just, you just keep at it. But I think going forward, that those are things that we have to approach thoughtfully with what capacity is there, and if we're intending to grow and for that outreach to continue, what does that look like, and how do we better support that?
Great. That's fantastic. I love that. It's especially libraries, and, listeners, if you haven't, get off your computer and go to a library. Because I'm a huge lover of libraries. I try and visit them in every community that I go into, because I think it tells a little bit of the story of the community as well. So I love that experience. Okay. Before we get totally derailed, question number 3, what is the greatest strength that you bring to this role, and what will be your biggest learning curve as a new counselor with the City of Camrose?
I think one of the strengths is having been involved in other things. So you have a better idea of what it is, what the procedures are and the processes are to be on those kinds of boards. And so understanding that is a plus. Also, I was the manager of a Starbucks for 10 plus years, and we did on average have about 30 people working for us here, and helped often with other stores and understood the business part of it. So I bring that business kind of skew. Before that, we did have a contracting company in Grand Prairie, so I understand that a little bit of that as well. So and having bounced around and been in different communities and different kinds of industries, sometimes it's nice just to say, if there's an education question, I always say my family is my greatest asset. Question about education. I have a daughter-in-law who's a teacher. Who it took her specialty in First Nation studies, and she is amazing, right? She can answer questions. I have a son that works in a hospital as security right now. I have a son that's a Red Seal crane operator up north, and so like they all have a different perspective. And I have a daughter that owns a travel agency, and so what kind of supports have they really been given, and those kinds of things. So sometimes that's a big asset. And just
huge
interpersonal things. Like, how do you work cooperatively? How do you, resolve conflict?
Right.
Those are things that big families give you. It's just the gift.
Yes.
You may come out of it thinking, man, I don't know if I did a very good job. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, totally. But
they kind of, they go through their stuff and they come around and and they're pretty good humans. So I don't know. Like I'm not so much about, are you hugely successful financially, but are you a good human?
Yeah.
I watched one of them. We were in Edmonton and there was an older Asian gentleman, and it was during COVID, and digging in an ashtray, picking out butts, and he walked over to him and he said, "Here, buddy," and he took a brand new pack of cigarettes and just gave him the whole pack. Yeah, like being a good human,
right,
is so much more important.
That's right.
Having a fat bank account.
Yeah, Yeah. Agreed.
I just think that is what makes this place special.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really good humans here.
Yeah. Agreed. There is so many good humans here. And listeners, you're used to hearing me say, because we have listeners outside the Camrose region as well and around the world. Have you booked your trip to Camrose yet? Come on, get on it. By the end of this, you're going to be moving here and buying property. And I'm sure we can find somebody to help you, right? It is a good community. So what's the biggest learning curve going to work for the city?
I think that you have to go in probably with, and your expectations when you take on new things are always way high.
Right.
And I think probably the biggest learning curve will be about how sometimes it will be really difficult to get accomplished those things that you would like to accomplish.
Right.
And to make those things grow. And I think that being patient and
well, you've been on a board.
Yeah, I remember at the chamber trying to get jaywalkers extended.
Yeah. So, it's all about being patient, right?
It takes time. You just keep having the conversation. But I do think that, sometimes that's the learning curve. And, and you have one employee when you're a city councillor. And I think that making sure you're patient and making sure you're present, those are the things that are really important. And I know that there are issues that are outside of council, right? Like issues with, I'm thinking of Augustana with some of the cutbacks they've been facing.
Right.
Like Augustana has been a great thing for the community.
Yeah.
The campus, I had a lot of these amazing young people work for me over the years. Is good for Camrose. And then the questions of how do we advocate and how do we become effective partners?
Right.
Right. So I think that's one of the things that could be frustrating in that position is how do I make that happen?
Right.
We can make that happen. Because honestly, like some of those cutbacks that were happening at the same time were happening, especially there were two campuses specifically. Augustana was pretty targeted, and so was the Faculté de Saint-Jean in Edmonton.
Yeah.
The community behind the Faculté Saint-Jean just reacted in such a different way than we did in Camrose, and I think we could have fought harder.
Okay.
And I think that relationship, it's kind of like they're over here and we're over there, and we kind of do our own things, and once in a while we get together. Right. But I think that we need more together.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? I think we need to do more, just making sure that we're really in sync with one another and supporting one another, because it is economically a great thing for the community. Yeah. They bring a lot. They rent a lot of properties. Yeah. Everybody knows they spend a lot. Those students. They spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of money. They bring a lot to the community. They're workers. Restaurants. And, they're part-timers, and they stay. Yeah. Like some of them really do stay. I had one girl work for me, and she started out as an Augustana student doing oh man, I don't want to say, I kind of think it was sciences or something. Yeah. But she ended up in the nursing program. Like she was with me for 7 years.
Oh, awesome.
And now she's a registered nurse working at our hospital here. Like how fantastic is that?
Yeah, exactly. Because they get a love for the community.
They do. I have another girl that had to move away to get a job. And she said, I miss my Camrose. I would love to come back to Camrose. Right?
Yeah.
So how do we make that happen? How do we have those jobs for those guys so they can stay? Right. Know? So those are some of the things that I think would be challenging. And but I do think there's a path forward. There's some amazing kids going to school there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Very sad when they move away.
Yeah, I know, right? It's always...
We can't keep them all, but we could sure keep some of them.
We could sure keep some of them if we had the opportunity. Okay, great. Question number 4. And we may have touched on this already, but feel free to go down a different avenue if you want. What is a change in the city that you would like to see happen? And how do you believe you will help be a part of that change?
Change is hard because nobody's really excited about change.
Right.
Humans don't like change.
Right? Yes.
Like we really don't love change. But I think that we need to ensure that our city is welcoming and inviting to a diverse group of people. Like we need to welcome everybody that's here. Yeah. And I know that we work on that.
Yeah.
But I think we still have work to do.
Agreed.
And so what does that look like? And like everybody that lives here will tell you what great place the Pan Flame is.
Yeah.
To eat.
Yeah.
And we have more of that. Like we need more of that, right?
Yeah.
And so we really noticed it when we moved here from Grand Prairie, because Grand Prairie is everyone is there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So how do we create that welcoming and warm and inviting environment where people feel like this is their home and they belong and they're not outsiders. They're not the others, right?
Yeah.
So making everybody make this their home.
Yeah. And making them, I love that, making them feel like this is their home.
Right. And sometimes that's more challenging than people realize.
Yeah.
Right. We always had a pretty integrated staff. Like worked hard at making sure, that we hired a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
And it's just really healthy and really good for people.
Yeah.
But it's hard and it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to dispel myths that are ingrained.
Yeah.
That happens with conversation. And mostly that happens when you meet a person.
Oh, okay.
When it's one thing to talk about someone who is First Nations and the problems they have. It's another thing when you work next to one.
Right.
And all of the preconceived ideas you have all of a sudden are gone.
Right.
And you're like, oh, because they aren't that, they're a person, right?
Human being.
They're a human being, right? But we've been very divided into categories.
Yes, I know.
Even my husband and I, he's French from Quebec, and I was English from Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And both ways, there were lots of times when it was hard. It was really hard for my mom. It was really hard for his mom.
Yeah.
Because I didn't speak French and,
right.
That doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
Except for his dad. His dad was like, he was everything that you think a boisterous French person should be. I remember the very first time I met him, and I was very worried about meeting him. Yeah. He was a politician, actually. He was the reeve of their county, what would be equivalent to the reeve of the county in their hometown for 25 years. And when I first met him, we came and we had kids and a brand new baby. And his dad said, "Don't worry. You will learn French." And then he stopped me and went, no, you learn Quebecois.
It's a big difference. Yes.
It's a very big difference. And anybody that speaks French that's been to Quebec, and they'll tell you what a big difference is.
Massive.
But, I love my family in Quebec.
Yeah.
And same Francois here, that feeling of inclusion and, but it takes time.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. And it takes time to reset.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that I think we can work on.
I love that answer, right? A reset on preconceived notions of people, right? And creating that inclusive community. Yeah. So it's going to be so important going forward.
And even in communities, like not everybody, I would not want to necessarily be compared with every other white woman that is my age.
Right.
And so it's saying in all of those communities, they all have those challenges, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they're all individuals.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we all know some white man.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't want my brother to be compared to that person that's the same age as him that's white.
Yeah.
It's about the one-on-one of it. It's about the human part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then taking the time to know people on a human level, that's what it's really about.
Yeah.
And creating communities where that's possible.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Great answers. Holy moly. I love it. I'm loving this conversation.
Wonderful.
Okay. But question number 5, why is municipal politics important to you?
I believe municipal politics is the most important governance. And it is because it is the one that you can touch.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All the rest are out there. How often do you might meet an MP or an MLA and have a few minute conversation, but your municipal politicians are your neighbors and
I can't escape.
Well, a little bit. Like I really have had people say to me, what about the terrible, they did all those sidewalks. What about the terrible sidewalks in front of my house? Right. And legit. Yeah. So you go and you ask the question of your city manager, what's going on with that? Yeah. Or I think my real answer was, I did see that they are assessing all of the sidewalks. So you make sure that they get yours, that they come, right? Yeah. And then I had said, make sure you send me your address, because I'm sure that the city has, the councillors will look at that at some point, and they make sure that those are being addressed, because there are I have walked some pretty horrendous sidewalks out in my little tours. I thought the ones in front of my house actually are a lot nicer than some of the other ones. Yeah. And I thought mine were a little challenged. Yeah. I'm sure our city manager does a great job, and I'm sure he's on it. But I don't know. I forgot the question. Municipal politics, why it's important to you. But I like that. It's the one the best, because you can actually go meet these people, or these people. And it is nonpartisan. Yeah. It is so, so important that it remain that way. Yeah, agreed. And I do think that there are people out there that would like it to be more partisan. And I think that can't happen. Agreed. Municipal politics must remain nonpartisan. It works. It's not 100%. Nothing is. If we've learned nothing over the last few years, it's that nothing is 100%. That's right. And I think it's the one that has the most impact on your day-to-day life, really. Where your streets, your water. The water for us is a very big deal in Camrose right now. We're dealing with those issues. Your neighboring communities, your sidewalks, your parks. Oh my goodness, we have the most amazing parks. Right? We opened a new one in Victoria Park. Yeah. The grandkids came to inspect. Okay, good. That's great. They know all the parks. Yeah. And I think that those are the things that are you really can impact on lives. And then taking that municipal position and really understanding the needs, and especially in rural communities. Yeah. We really need strong advocates. And a lot of rural people are feeling very disassociated.
Yeah.
That they don't have a voice, that nobody's listening, nobody cares about what's going on out here. We have seniors that don't have a way to go to doctors.
Yeah.
We have accessibility issues. We have rural transport issues. And it's like it falls on deaf ears, right?
Yeah.
So who better to address some of these conversations, even if it's got to be provincially funded, to talk about maybe a bus isn't the answer.
Right.
Maybe we really need a mobility kind of taxi service.
Right.
That can take people from point A to point B, or to a doctor's appointment. Because maybe the handy van doesn't work in every circumstance.
That's right.
And it's so important for them to be out and about, right?
Yes, from the social aspect, absolutely.
From a social aspect of it.
Yeah.
And so how do we create that accessibility and that movability for people to be out in the community? And that's all municipal politics, right?
Right.
Those are municipal issues. Can you walk into all of the buildings in the city? Not necessarily in our city. There are places where it's difficult. Yeah. I've been helping a friend that had a stroke, and he's got some mobility challenges.
Okay.
And you don't think about it. We walk around, we climb the stairs. We step over that little lift that goes in and out of a building. We get into tight spaces in washrooms or whatever, and we just don't think about it. Then I started helping, and I'm like, oh, 2-inch thing to get in or out of, that's a big deal, man. And I'm pretty strong,
Yes. Yeah.
Like all the little things. He needs to go to the doctor, but he can't get there because there's no way to get him in and out of a vehicle. Or he wants to be at home, but there's so many challenges and so many conversations that we need to be having around the seniors.
Yeah.
And how they would choose to live here. We have the most wonderful group of 80-year-olds in Camrose.
Yeah. I
find them, they're amazing, right? Like they just straight up are interesting and fun to talk to.
Right.
And solution oriented. They're not whiny. They are passionate, they're involved.
Yeah.
I only hope that I have that much energy when I'm 80.
Exactly.
But how are we as a community gonna treasure that?
Right.
How are we gonna ensure that we're dealing with them in a dignified and professional and a good way?
Yeah.
How are we gonna make sure that the only way to the doctor isn't an ambulance?
Right.
It's all of those things that we can work on as a community.
Right.
Because I think we have this thought in our mind that it has to be private or it has to be public. But in between those two things is this community.
Right.
And community-focused, community-driven projects are always the most successful.
Absolutely.
They are grounded in community. They are supported by community. They are not profit-driven, so they don't have any of the drawbacks of being profit-driven.
Yeah, right.
And their goal is to serve.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get out of this box of private or public and really start to think about how can we work together as community to make some of these things happen.
I love that. Yeah. That sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Right. I love progress.
That's just like some of my learnings from my 80-year-old friends.
I love that. They're such a great source of information, right? And people want to,
If you think about it in terms of Indigenous cultures, or a lot of cultures around the world, that elders are so revered.
Right.
And that is why.
Because they have the wisdom.
And maybe they can't, break concrete or build a house or whatever, but their value is in that. And we are one of the few cultures, the North American cultures, who have forgotten that they are our elders, and we have devalued their wisdom.
You're right. Yeah.
And I think we need to come back to a place. And also I believe we need to build bridges from our younger people to the elders.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've gotten off into our camps.
Yeah, I know.
Old people over here, the young people over here.
Yeah.
All those young kids, and they're just lazy. Yeah. Playing video games in their parents' basement. Yeah. And then the other way around, like old people, and they take too long to get the change out of their purse, right? Right. The stereotypes. When in reality, I think they would really enjoy one another.
Totally.
I've kind of been the middle guy where I've been worked with both. So I'm like, I think we need to build back those bridges. They used to exist. Yes. Like, I knew all my great aunts and uncles. Yeah. Yeah. My Auntie Reen was like, ooh. Yeah. A different kind of lady. Yeah. My grandfather, I knew all my great uncles. Yeah. And so we had that privilege of being very connected to our history. We had that privilege of being very connected to who we were. Yeah. And very grounded in, like who, my son's name is the same as my grandfather's name. Right. But I think that piece has been lost a little bit. Right. Because we've went like all over the place. Yeah. We don't all, families don't stay in the same. My kids are all over the province. Right. So how do we build bridges within our community to create that again? Yeah. And I think it's an important question because I think they're just too awesome. Yeah. They're just too awesome to leave them over there by themselves. Well, and I think regardless of age, I think the young people are awesome. I think the old people are awesome. And I think there's so much wisdom they could share back and forth to create a brilliant solution. Exactly. Right? Yeah. So it's the best of both worlds. Awesome. Okay. Well, my last question, Julie, and then we'll see if there's anything we've missed. So I used to ask it, why do you believe you are the best? But I'm not. I'm changing that. Why do you believe you would be a great candidate for the position of councillor with City of Camrose? Well, I think that I do have some of those connections. Yeah. So I have a great appreciation for the younger group of people that are out there because I've had some really amazing 16-year-olds work for me. Yeah. I've also had the privilege of working with the 80-year-olds. And I think they're amazing and I've learned so much from them. Right. And I think I could be a bridge builder. Okay. And I think that bringing those two things together is really important. I also think that I'm community focused. Yeah. Like I'm not worried about what a particular political party does or those kinds of things. I don't have another agenda. Right. I just love the community and I am a builder within a community and watching it grow and be healthy into the future. That would be my only motivation. So I think that kind of makes me ideal for the job. I hope. I believe so, but okay, listeners, this is your reminder. If you live in Camrose, Monday, October 18th is voting day. If you don't know how to vote or how to register to vote or where to vote, go to the City of Camrose page. They've got it hit on the elections tab, and they're going to give you all the information how to do that. Anything we've missed, Julie? Anything you want to throw in your last minute? Ooh, I don't know. I think we've covered a lot of topics. I think so too. I think it's been fantastic. And I know the listeners will appreciate it. And just a big thank you for doing this. It was great to get to know you a little better. So good luck on October 18th. Well, thank you. And thanks to everyone out there who will support and who will vote for me or think that I can do that job. And if anybody has any questions, I have a Facebook page. Just send your questions there. or if you see me out and about, for sure, don't feel shy at all. Just come in and ask away.
Perfect.
I love it. I love a great question. Even if I don't have the answer, I'll do my best.
All right. That's all we can ask.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Good luck on October 18th. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And stay tuned, listeners. There's more great interviews coming up with more great candidates for the City of Camrose municipal elections happening October 18th. Welcome back, listeners, to our Rural Opportunities podcast. Another great candidate for City of Camrose councillor position. And today I'm very pleased to welcome Anthony Holler back to the program. So welcome, Anthony.
Oh, thank you very much.
So Anthony is running for City of Camrose councillor position. So Anthony, if you're ready, we'll just jump into our questions here and get going.
Okay.
Perfect. So just your name, age, and a little bit about yourself. And you don't have to answer the age one. Others have chosen to, but it's totally up to you.
Okay. My name's Anthony. I'm 52 years old. My birthday's coming up pretty quick.
Oh, when? Because mine's on the 7th.
October 4th.
Oh, you're before me. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And then just a little bit about yourself, Anthony.
Oh, yeah. I've lived in Camrose here for the last 20 odd years. And I went to Grant MacEwan University, graduated in 1993. And I've been living in Camrose here, like I said, for the last 20 years.
20 years. Wow, long time.
Yeah.
Hey, so you know the community in and out.
Yeah. I've gotten to know quite a lot of people here.
That's great. So we'll go on to question number 2. In what capacities have you been involved in the City of Camrose activities in the past?
I haven't officially sat on any committees, but
okay.
I did participate a little bit in the Camrose Transit Advisory Committee.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, and I got to know a little bit of what the advisory committee does, and some of the proposals that came up for transit here in Camrose. And they did the pilot project they did the carpooling.
Yeah.
That pilot project expired.
Yeah.
And then the Camrose connector.
Right.
They ran that pilot for a little while, and I think that ended last year.
Yeah, not too long ago, it seems.
Not too long ago, but it was a pilot project, and seeing how much demand there would be for transit, and there was actually quite a lot of feedback from people of Camrose.
Oh, great. Yeah, it was a great program. So hopefully you got some good feedback on the advisory committee to move forward.
Yeah, I contributed my part a little bit.
Yep. Good. And so what was your experience like first time working on an advisory committee? Did you enjoy it? Obviously you're running for council.
Yeah, it was interesting. You're working with just average people, people that sit on that committee. Like I said, I didn't sit on that committee on an official capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're used to
see how things work.
Right. So you're kind of used to that collaboration mindset and working together with others. And
yeah, as a city councilor, you have to be thinking the big picture and the community as a whole, and how things at the committee level affect agenda for city council to move things forward.
Right. You have to have an understanding of that governance model, hey, and how to get things going.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So question number 3, what is your greatest strength that you will bring to this role of city councilor? And what do you think, Anthony, will be your biggest learning curve?
I'm readily available to serve the people of Camrose, and
perfect.
Yeah, and my biggest learning curve would be one of my biggest fears is public speaking.
Okay.
My biggest learning curve.
Yeah.
learning how to speak in front of people.
It takes getting used to. I think a lot of us have that fear.
Yeah. But it's I think it would be a good experience for me. And
awesome. That's great. I love that you're going to bring to this role your past committee experience as well, and that collaboration mindset. I think that's important too.
Right.
And I love that you're a listener, right? So often we find in government or collaborations, people who don't listen, and then it kind of derails the whole process.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Number 4, what is a change in the city of Camrose that you would like to see happen? And how do you believe you will help to be a part of that?
Not so much change, just sort of giving my input, and
you're right.
I'd be inheriting, the city seems to be running quite smoothly. Yeah. So, but right. I don't think there's much change. It's just more or less just providing my input and
keeping it going.
Yeah. Maintaining it. There were some incumbents that didn't run this year or this. So there might be a large gap there to fill.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully I can fill that gap.
Awesome.
Provide my input and
get in there and get your hands dirty, right?
Yeah, there are a couple. Like I was just talking to some people, Camrosians, just average people. There are a couple bylaws that I wanted to amend. So if I can make a difference during my term, then
awesome. Well, I think that's great. I like that the city is run very well. That's not, that's not an over, and it runs very well here. And people are very good at it. City administration is usually pretty good at making great recommendations to council. So I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5, why is municipal politics important to you, Anthony?
Well, I'm just an average person, hoping to see a little bit of change and hopefully be part of the continued growth of Camrose. And municipal politics is a little bit different than provincial and federal.
For sure.
I'm nonpartisan, so I'm not linked to any political party or anything like that. So I thought municipal politics was a good fit for me.
Yeah, I love that. I think it definitely attracts people that are nonpartisan or, those centrists that just want to work with everybody else to get a great solution going.
I don't really have much ties to partisan politics, but being sitting on council, you wouldn't be belong to a political party, and you're not bound by policies that the political parties would want you to sway towards. No, absolutely. I've had a lot of candidates tell me it's the purest form of serving your community without having been, worried, tied by, political parties' back ends, and you better vote this way. This is our platform. Having to toe the line on policies. Because if you run for a political party, then you've pretty much committed yourself to those, at least to to most of their policies. I mean,
yeah, you've kind of, the expectation is there that you would toe the party line per se.
Yeah.
So where in municipal politics, you don't. You're doing what's best for the community. So
yeah.
Great. Good answer. Thank you for that. And then our last question, and then we'll see if there's anything we want to add to that. Why do you believe you're a great candidate for the City of Camrose council position?
Well, I'm able and ready.
Okay.
And I feel that I can make a reasonable contribution to the community. And a lot of people have said that I are very, sometimes I take initiative.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been known to being taking the initiative, and sometimes not necessarily doing things without permission, but just taking the initiative and
right.
Yeah, hopefully.
You see a cause you're passionate about, you work to get it going. Yeah.
So that's why I think it'd be good for this position.
I think you would be great too, right? You've got the past committee work, so you have a little bit of understanding on that governance model. You're a great listener. You're not afraid to speak up for initiatives that that you believe in. I think all good qualities of a city councillor.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. Anything we haven't covered, Anthony, that you would like to add here?
Well, I've done some past community work.
Okay.
For a local nonprofit here in Camrose, and for the last 11 years, I've been working with them. So
yeah,
I'm sort of I want to maintain, keep that position, keep that going.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten to know a lot of people through that organization, but through city council, I think I could maybe contribute a little bit more.
Perfect.
And the timing was the timing with this pandemic and stuff. I think hopefully I can contribute something to the city.
Well, I'm sure you will. You don't seem like the kind of guy to run away from a good decision, Anthony.
Well, thank you.
Okay, well, best of luck. Just a reminder to all our viewers, October 18th is election day. So make sure if you don't know where or how to vote, or you need more information, visit the City of Camrose election page. And they have all the details there where you can vote, what times, how to get there, if you need a ride. So make sure you're exercising that right to vote on October 18th. And Anthony, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
I hope when I come to present to City Council, I see you behind the desk, put it that way.
Well, okay.
And good luck to you. And it was just a real pleasure getting to know you. Yeah,
thank you. Just apologize for all the troubles with Zoom. I have my own Zoom account here too. So just one thing, that if the public want to get a hold of me,
okay.
They can set up a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
And I can talk to residents one-on-one.
Perfect. So anybody wants to find out more about Anthony, go look him up and have a one-on-one conversation with him. I'm sure he'd be, as he just mentioned, he's open to doing that. All right, Anthony, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks. That was pretty quick.
Yeah.
It went smoothly.